to set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
The Smashing Machine 2025. That is today. That is right now. And you guys know what show it is. It's the Film Buff Podcast. Welcome back, friends and foes. Peter A. DeLuca, the Film Buff, coming to you from Philadelphia, PA. And this is, I will say, my fourth time trying to get through this episode, because The Smashing Machine, starring Dwayne Johnson, is a loaded gun. It's a loaded rifle. And I mean that by, there's a lot of different discussion points here, and there's a lot of film analysis. I will say this, in case you were just listening to the first five seconds before you had to go, this movie's a full recommendation. Yes, I feel Dwayne Johnson earned an Oscar nomination, deserved a Golden Globe nomination, deserved more adulation. Some of the reasoning around that is he caused it, I will say. I think his PR took the wind out of this movie's sails. But and with or without that, this movie also has a clear problem that anyone can overlook. And if you're new here, you know, like that, this is a little bit of what we do here on this podcast. We obsessively go over, talk about, discuss. We drool over movies. And I believe I monitor enough of the outside world, the other critics and YouTubers and columnists and now Substackers. I monitor enough of these guys to know kind of what they're saying. And all the big ones all have the same audience capture, so they repeat the same things. So we're in a little bit of this environment where film criticism hollowed out. And I view the Film Buff Podcast, all the work that we do here, all the work I do with you guys, the AKAPAD Army, or the film buffers out there, we're trying to save the film industry. We're trying to save the film criticism industry by being able to watch a movie and be critical about it, and not just jump on hate trains and repeat things, because that's just unhealthy, and it's just vapid, guys. It's vapid. Yeah, that's your word of the day. Let me say this. When this movie came out, The Rock had lost weight. He appeared to be skinny. He wasn't the size. He wasn't the Dwayne Johnson that we were used to seeing. And then social media, like, they ripped it apart. And The Rock's been teetering on social media a little bit anyway. So The Rock's social media rise, which really lent to a lot of his films, because he was so popular, he could market, right? Like, that's why it's important to have social media, a presence. He was called out. You know, there was a couple like In-N-Out Burger posts. Like, he posted like 3 times that he went to In-N-Out Burger for the first time. But previously, like, he would post his cheat meals and they would just go insanely viral. And he would post these like inspirational messages about hustling and working out. And he did tap into what we can call, like, you know, early 2000s like hustle culture, or like to like the 2020, like 2018-ish, like hustle culture. So he built an audience, and he had this deal with Under Armour. So he was breaking film, and he was saving franchises. Say, you know, G.I. Joe, Retaliation, fantastic movie. Journey to the Center of the Earth. He came in on Fast and Furious, and he had this like 3-movie run where he got the reputation of, you can put Dwayne Johnson in something, he will get you enough attention to maybe carry on that franchise. And I believe in all those movies names I named. I know what happened with Fast and Furious. Right now, they could do a Journey to the Center of the Earth that involves Dwayne Johnson and Brendan Fraser. They can do one, put the two of them back together. Dwayne Johnson, Brendan Fraser, new Mummy movie. You can continue G.I. Joe with what they did. I believe Retaliation is such a, just for an action movie and a sequel, insanely underrated. But then he brought back Jumanji and gave us two, and we talked about it here, guys, two amazing movies. Skyscraper, another one I love. And he kind of brought this 80s action hero back into reality. And the difference was he was more global audience and he was more general audience. So there was no cursing, no nudity, no blood. The Rock came off as this wholesome hustler, and you could partake in it if you followed him on social media. And this worked up until this movie, AKAPAD. Isn't that wild? I mean, that's a hell of a run. So along the way, The Rock becomes the biggest name in Hollywood, right? So you can potentially argue, like, outside of franchises, meaning like The Rock doesn't have his Conan the Barbarian, Predator, Terminator. He doesn't quite have that, but he got close and he tried. We can argue that The Rock got bigger and larger than life than even Arnold Schwarzenegger. So this movie gets geared up, and you see some of the early makeup footage. And every time I saw it, I would just send it to people. I was like, can you believe this is The Rock? It doesn't even look like him. And just from that transformation, it's you're going to do something with this role. You're going to do something with this movie. I want to be there for it. And one of my close friends, Mark, he's been on this podcast. He's been on for Fast and Furious episodes. I went back and forth with him. I'm like, hey, we should try and see this movie. Couldn't get it. But, and then in my local theater, the Fashion District, Philadelphia, PA, downtown, right near Chinatown, the poster, and it's such a cool shot. It's a two-fighter shot, and it was really around that time that this hype came out. So it's an Oscar run, it's a Golden Globe run. This is going to be something. And then the name, Benny Safdie. And here we go. Good Time, Uncut Gems. Two movies that I just think are monumental in today's landscape. Excuse me. And then the brothers, right? There's two brothers that made those movies. Robert Pattinson, Adam Sandler. Gut-wrenching movies that the endings will not leave you. There is a formula, there's a type of world that they put out. You know, like they want you to see this hyper anxiety, time is running out world. I would say they do like countdown movies. They're attached. So now we have this entire spectrum here, and the Smashing Machine is coming. And then we get the premiere, and it cracked. It was The Rock. The Rock is skinny. He's still a hell of a size, but he's not The Rock. He's not Hulk-ish. It's confusing. And then this like PR slip up. He doesn't give good excuses. Nothing sounds right. It just seems off. It's just it comes off as disingenuous and forced and fake. All the worst things you want. Social media takes it and just runs with it, and a sub-industry pops up on YouTube overnight of this Dwayne Johnson analysis, where he's on a podcast, not this one, but talking about heart conditions, and people start putting it all together that his heart just went, and he's got to get off the juice. He can't be on steroids anymore, and this is the result of that. And we found something out there. We found how the audience sees Dwayne Johnson, and they don't accept any other alternative. I think something a little bit similar happened with Hugh Jackman. If you really look into everything he's done around Wolverine and the X-Men, Hugh Jackman is trying to convince you he doesn't have to be jacked for a movie, and he's made a lot of comments about it. The other actor that maybe could be around that is also Ryan Reynolds. Where you need something else. You do need like a separate franchise. You need something to continue where you don't have to look a certain way. Deadpool's a little bit more forgiving than Wolverine, but I do feel like that's why Wolverine doesn't show his arms in Wolverine Deadpool. Like he's got clothed arms, and it just bothers me. But it hides the physical part of the role, where Hugh Jackman doesn't have to be a jacked superhero. He can have the shape because he's covered, same as Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. But there's this complete like rejection of The Rock at this time. And then our Benny Safdie. So I learned that the two brothers that made these two amazing movies, they broke up. They had this like major falling out around Good Time, which is sexual harassment stuff. And it's stuff that happened on set. And the brothers, a little bit of a schism. And this calendar year, they make two movies that got, the attention of the Smashing Machine and the attention of Marty Supreme. It's insane. Like we want to say the beginning of the year was Smashing Machine, the end of the year was Marty Supreme, and that controlled indie filmmaking. We'll call it, even though we're starring major people. Let's just call it indie film for lack of a better term. So there's a schism of these two brothers now. So the Smashing Machine becomes nothing but drama. And then we walk through the door because it drops on HBO Max. And we watch it. And Benny here, I just want to tell you how the movie ends. Well, first I'll tell you about the major problem. The major problem with this movie is, and what was it? I was just watching Miracle on Ice. Miracle, the Disney movie where... No, I'm sorry. Nixon. This is where I noticed this in Nixon, where the news reporter, or like the newsreel, Martin Scorsese's Aviator, the newsreel, even Starship Troopers, even RoboCop, right? Newsreels in film, highly effective. They can pull the narrative decades. They can explain the internal monologue of characters as we're watching something. Like this is where it's important to, if you're making a sports film, right? Like you need this element, and you kind of need this element to hit home. In Smashing Machine, it's maybe one of the worst I've seen and heard. The voice of the news coverage, we'll call it, or the color commentary that overlays with some of the drama of this movie and some of the fighting, or some of the in-ring aspects of this movie. It's not there. It doesn't carry the movie, and it doesn't quite pull you in. Not quite there. This is an element I feel like needs to be perfect, and when it is, the entire audience, including me at times, takes it for granted. That's my one criticism of this entire movie. So let's jump into the ending. And the way that this movie ends is in... Jeez, it's hard to pinpoint. We spend 2 hours with Dwayne Johnson as Mark Kerr. And then at the end of this movie, we spend time with the real Mark Kerr. It's like grocery shopping and crap. walking in a grocery store parking lot. As the credits, and we're wrapping this journey up, and the whole point is that this guy, he lived the life, and this is the life. And I don't think that this was intentional, but this is what happens. This movie and The Rock portrayed this guy's life to the point that when you watch the real life guy at the end, you're saying to yourself, it's Dwayne Johnson. I know who this guy is from the movie. His mannerisms, his pace of talk. And The Rock is so good in that, in just speaking. He makes you love this guy right away, which is fantastic. Again, the contrast of that and being a bloody fighter, being a barbarian in the octagon or in the ring. In these cases, but we see The Rock's character in the real life figure, and that's never been done before. I think they were using it as a send-off, as a honoring the contributions of this guy, and giving him some screen time, and I thought it was maybe a little bit wink wink nod nod, comical too, right? It's a little bit fourth wall breaking, but it's such a revelation in seeing a real life person. And you imagine that person as the fictionalized portrait. It blew me away. It blew my mind. I can't think of it's ever been done or I've ever done this effectively. And this is, if you want to cycle back, my film buffers, this is the war. This is the fight, aka Padders, because I watched every single review. I think I read about 7 of them about this movie, eagerly, because I was excited. No one touched on it. No one touched on this. The real life Mark Kerr broke the fourth wall, but the real life person doesn't break the fourth wall in this instance. It's fascinating. The Smashing Machine, I think, is immensely important for that reason. All right, AKA Powders, thank you for hanging out. And I guess I'm a little bit more sentimental because I think we've had that another growth spur, and so many of you are reaching out and leaving comments. I know I got a request for Aliens vs. Predator. So I might just do a off the top of my head history of that franchise, because the starting point may not be where you expect. All right, guys, I love you. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.